This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And hello, good day to everybody. Welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's us again. I'm Les Jackson, he's Fred Staub, and we are here live as usual with a whole trunk load of stories about the auto industry.
Or is it
maybe even a trunk?
How about a frunk load? Front
a
trunk.
frunk. Well, in your case today, with your at the wheel review, it's a frunk.
Front load. Yeah. Yeah, the car I'm going to review has a frunk and a small trunk.
That's right.
It's bi-trunkle.
And a small trunk is an understatement. I think you can get a banana in it.
2 golf bags. That's
well,
it.
That's actually quite large.
That's the qualification. It's the we're gonna review the C8 Corvette a little bit later on. I had a chance to drive that at the wheel, but you have a lot of stories to get to before that, right?
That is true. Ford reveals its most advanced expedition ever with the latest driver assistance technology.
Yeah.
We're saying driver assistance. We're not saying autonomous.
No, that's right. Driver assistance, and it's got one heck of a big screen on the dash. We'll tell you about that.
Wow. That's bigger than the monitor on my desk.
Yeah, that is pretty huge. And also, we're going to talk about Volvo, Les Jackson, and this could be a trend. It says after 2023, no more leather seats. Tell you what they're going to replace them with.
Well, the moo is a cry for help.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's being answered. And here we go again. I hope not, but I'm afraid it might be. Could another Takata airbag recall be coming soon? Just when we forgot about it.
Why don't we just take all that stuff out of every car, throw it away, and get it from another company? What do you think?
Hey, I'm sold.
So we'll talk about that, and that's not great news. But we're also going to talk tech. Could a color-changing paint be coming to a vehicle near you? One manufacturer says yes, and actually that manufacturer's Audi. And we're going to talk about Audi and their new Q4 E-Tron as well, Les Jackson.
That is true. We got the details on that. And as far as color changing tech, now the last time we had that, it was the chroma color
flip-flop paint. Yeah,
that would change from sort of an ugly purplish green to a ugly brownish green.
Yeah, I remember that. They would put it on drag cars. They go down the track and they would flip-flop. Yeah.
And the stuff costs $1,200 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that, and as I said, have an at-the-wheel review of the brand-new 2021 Chevy Corvette C8, so stay tuned to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub. He's Les Jackson. We'll be right back.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. That's the show you're watching and listening to. We're glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out the YouTube page, Les's Sock Drawer on the Instagram.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all there. And we figured, besides that, why don't we tell you about some new vehicles? You might not be able to buy these new vehicles because
That's right.
You were just
They
saying
may be empty showrooms, but
you were just saying you went by a Honda dealer in your neighborhood, right? Which is
yeah.
in the Virginia area.
And, this is a very well-to-do regional, DC suburbs.
Right.
Lots of car dealers, and there were nothing in the showroom. It was empty.
How about the lot? Was there
The lot had, I saw a few new vehicles, but it was mostly used.
Were there a lot of used vehicles? Because
I'd say maybe 30.
Wow. I saw on a local Facebook post, the community here has a lot of those things. That's good because people ask like, hey, I need a plumber. Has anyone used this guy or whatever? But somebody said, I need a used car. I have about $6,000. I can't find anything. Is anyone selling anything? Is anyone know of someone? And a guy got on and explained why that is and the chip shortage. And I commented like, you were correct, completely correct. And he mentioned like there's a guy that details cars and there's a shop in town. Maybe they might know of somebody because that's the way it used to be in the old days. There would always be a car sitting out of the shop. Maybe they bought it at an auction, fixed it up, and that's what you would buy. But this person was like, I can't buy a car. I have $6,000, which I thought was, something decent for a decent. And then one guy offered something with like 300,000 miles on it, and it was a manual,
Gee.
it's $12,000,
That's crazy. I'd go to Craigslist and just look for private sellers and, hope you can find something.
That's not smashed or flooded or
Not smashed. Also, I would go to the reception offices at retirement homes and ask if anyone's posted a car for sale.
Hey, that's an idea because they might not be familiar with Facebook Marketplace or something.
Or they may not care. They just want to get rid of the car.
Yeah, or maybe it's just sitting there. Hey, that's a great idea. I would have reposted that because there are a few facilities like that in the area, and it might be good. And a family might really be glad to get rid of it, right?
Absolutely. They just, if nobody in the family wants it, then it's just a big drain on their time.
What do you think's happening to these places that take donated cars? Do you think that they're still getting donations, or do you think people are like, hey, I can't donate it because I need it, or B, I can sell it. it was $2,000, now it's $12,000.
That's right. Well, I think they're probably donating fewer.
Yeah.
But there's still donations.
Cars.
Yeah, still donations going on.
Yeah. Well, let's move on and talk a little bit about a new or the new version of a vehicle that has come out this week from Ford. It is the new Expedition 2022 edition. It is the flagship SUV, the big one, from Ford. And they have gone with a huge screen in the center of the dash, tablet style, standing upright. It was first shown in 2017, and now it's been kind of elevated up. It has a Timberline series. What does that mean, Les? It's rougher and tougher.
Yep, we get rougher, more rugged off-road.
Yeah, it looks like it's got some pretty beefy rubber there for
pretty beefy tires. The Expedition itself hasn't demonstrably changed in its looks in, 20 25 years.
It's a big, square, lug-jawed truck, which is not bad. but
No.
but it now gets a huge tablet in the center of the dash.
That's we have the dimensions of that. That's what, like 12 by 18.
Something like that. Actually, the Wilderness edition of this vehicle looks very rugged. The tires are those big, thick tires. They look like they have mud lugs on the side. But you look at the front of it, it is still that square design, grill-dominated design, very truck-like. And let's talk about some of the numbers here. The Expedition Timberline SUV, it weighs 4% less than the Jeep Wagoneer SUV. And we'll tell you a little bit about the additional horsepower and things like that when we come back in the new Stealth Edition. All coming up on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred here. We were talking about the Expedition, which is the Ford, big Ford. Remember when they made the Excursion?
That was even bigger, and they had an
That was
Excursion
18
XL.
inches bigger.
Yeah. I remember they used to use them in the city as fire chief trucks.
Wow.
And they would have that old Ford International diesel, and they would lay into that thing, and it would roll coal right down the street. But not so on the Expedition. We were telling you a little bit about it. It gets a huge horsepower bump in the when you compare it to some of the others, like the Jeep Wagoneer. It's got 48 more horsepower than the Jeep Wagoneer. And there's a
That's quite a bit.
Stealth Edition performance package that delivers 85 more horsepower than that. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And
Those are Goodyear Wrangler tires.
well, that's cool. Now, the Stealth Edition gets that Ford high output 3.5 liter EcoBoost, 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque, which is pretty stout. Now, what's included in this new Expedition or available, if you get the Expedition Platinum, is Ford Blue Cruise, which is their driver assistance technology, which is it involves adaptive cruise control, stop and go, lane centering, speed sign recognition. You can drive in certain hands-free blue zones on highways.
Yep.
It's sort of like their version of Super Cruise. If you remember, I believe GM was suing them over the name Blue Cruise because they thought it was too similar to Super Cruise. But new infotainment, we told you about that huge tablet size screen. And they also make it easier in the 2022 Expedition to manage things like hitching and trailering back into a campsite or down a boat ramp. You ever watch those boat ramp things where the guy lets the whole rig go into the water? Or they pull it out, and the guy opens the door, and the whole lake comes out of the side door. Ever watch those? The Fail Army?
Oh yeah, and and I watch these people and their trailers go underwater, and those trailers aren't protected for rust.
No, not good. The Expedition can tow up to 9,300 pounds when equipped with a heavy-duty trailer package. So a lot going on in this vehicle. We'll have to take a little bit deep dive into it, a little bit more of a deep dive into it. But if you're interested in big SUVs, the Ford flagship Expedition, the Excursion is no longer made, so the Expedition might be
And
something
what do you
to check
suppose
out.
the top price is?
I'm going to say, I don't think we have pricing, but I'm going to say 90.
So I think, well into the 90s for the high end.
In that range.
A lot of technology, a lot of capability.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
Not cheap. Not cheap. Hey, here's a trend we might see more of. Volvo announced this week that its electric cars, starting with the new C40 Recharge, will be completely leather-free. Now, we've talked about this, that Tesla has vegan leather options. And a matter of fact, I meant to say this, on certain Toyota cars, and this is not anything to do with electric or being green or anything, they now don't offer leather. They offer some kind of synthetic leather, which is actually pretty nice. If I didn't know better, I would think it was leather. But this seems to be the way Volvo's going to go. And use high-quality, sustainable materials made from biomass and recycled sources, sort of like things like PET bottles, the plastic bottles.
Yeah.
And corks recycled from the wine industry. That might smell
It looks like some of the Alcantara fabrics.
Yeah. I frankly would still like more of a supple, leather-like artificial material that was soft and smooth, because cloth to me just collects dirt.
Yeah.
But I'm sure as we've seen, that manufacturers can make something that's very leather-like, Toyota being one of them. And of course, our friends over at Volkswagen have done that with leatherette, warm leatherette, haven't they? For a long time.
That's right. Leatherette vinyl.
Yeah, and it's not the cheapy, sweaty, crackly vinyl of the past. It's nice stuff. So, and
it is very nice stuff.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. It's no problem. But that's what Volvo is going to do. Now, Les, this was distressing. New story here. I believe this came out from Autoblog. NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, on Tuesday of this week confirmed that has opened an investigation into another 30 million vehicles that could be driving around with ticking time bombs, defective air inflators made by the Takata Corporation. How many have been replaced already?
Yes, quite a few have been replaced already, and of course
100 million worldwide.
yeah, which is kind of how many new vehicles have come out in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
This is, man, we just can't say anything good about this.
No, there is nothing good to say. I almost think that if it has a Takata airbag, it has to be replaced. Of course, defective inflators have killed 28 people worldwide, 19 in the U.S., and have caused more than 400 injuries. 16 of those deaths were in Hondas.
Now, bear in mind, that's 400 injuries, 28 deaths out of 100 million airbags. So it's a tiny percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tiny risk unless you're living or driving in the conditions that cause these inflators to react.
But how do you know?
Well, if you're around the equator, replace it.
Now,
there are a lot of people in Canada or Northern Europe that just aren't replacing theirs. I think that's a very small risk.
Well, this new recall would involve 24 manufacturers between 2021 and 2019, 1,384 different vehicle models, vehicles from Honda, Ford, Toyota, General Motors, Nissan, Subaru, Tesla, Ferrari, Mazda, a whole bunch more. So we'll see how this shakes out with NHTSA, but you may be getting one of these recall notices for one of these vehicles. And frankly, I almost thought virtually every vehicle was recalled for this, but it's terrible.
Yeah, this is just getting tiring. It's unacceptable.
Yep.
The company.
And someone bought the company.
Yeah, they bought the company.
Why would you buy that? It's like, oh, wow, that house has a hole right through its roof and it's all rotten.
Yeah.
But I'll buy it anyway. I mean,
well,
you buy it for the land, I guess.
Right. There are these, they used to call them corporate raiders, but these companies that take these over try to either rebuild the companies or they just sell off all the assets.
Yeah.
But you're right. Let's just get someone else to make airbags.
Yeah. I would not think you saying, hey, we're going to make airbags and we're calling
That's
the
right.
company Takata would be a good idea.
Throw all of their engineering records in a fire. Start at zero.
Hey, we're not going to start at zero, but we got plenty more to go on cruise control. We've got an at-the-wheel review of the Corvette C8 coming up. We're going to tell you about the Mach-E police car and a lot going on at Audi, so stay tuned. Les Jackson is back.
Yes, sir.
With Cruise Control. How you doing? Welcome back to Cruise Control. A lot to get to in the second half of this hour. This was an interesting story. It started developing last week, and it involves the Mach-E. And the folks over at Ford have come up with a Mach-E police package, and they submitted it to the rigorous Michigan State Police 2022 model year evaluation, which includes acceleration, top speed braking, high-speed pursuit, as well as emergency handling characteristics. And it was accepted for this and passed all of these tough tests. It's the first electric vehicle to pass that rigorous test. And what better way to test these vehicles than put them into the fleet with some heavy-duty use, right?
Well, that's about as police use is just about as stressful as the vehicles can go through.
Yeah.
But my question is, a lot of these are used 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
How do you charge it?
I don't know. It certainly would be a fast police pursuit vehicle. But I don't know. The biggest thing they do, too, police cars, is they sit on the side of the road and idle for hours and then go to wide open throttle. Now,
That's right. Well, of course, electric doesn't care.
Doesn't care. So that would be good. I mean, think about something like this. You know how they sit at the construction sites? They have to have a state trooper in many states. Maybe this would be good for something like that. What do you think? It wouldn't be running. They could still...
That's right. It's just flashing lights.
And I bet on that construction site, there's probably a generator that someone would give you a plug to plug in if you needed. But it is interesting. This is a hard way to test it. I just hope if they do build it, it's got to have steel wheels, because steel wheels are where it's at with police cars and poverty caps. You know what I'm talking about, Les?
Well,
Steelies. You got to have steelies on a police car. It's got to have
That's true.
Black steel wheels with little caps on it. Just it looks cool. But there you have it. We'll see more about it if we see more of these vehicles. Let's talk a little tech. Have you ever wanted to change the color of your vehicle other than taking it to a paint shop and doing it? Well, it looks like Audi is working on this. It was a patent that was discovered by the folks over at CarBuzz in the German patent office. So what they would do is it's an adaptive color invention that would achieve efficiency by changing the color of the vehicle. Black vehicles consume 1 or 2% more energy than white vehicles in midsummer because they heat up inside. To achieve this lower consumption, Audi wants to use a display film that includes a graphic film layer having a displayable image and background color, a switchable film layer, and a color code layer, which is switchable between a clear state and a dark state. When the switchable film layer is energized, either the displayable graphic is displayed on the top side of the film, or only the background color is displayed. And it works off of polymer dispersed liquid crystal particles, or PDLC, based on a polymer liquid crystal film. Now, I, of course, think that's cool, and that is a great way to save energy, but I also think of, you have a race car, you could put a wrap on this thing and say, laps 1 to 100 are,
wow.
The men's Gillette shaver. Laps 100 to 200 are, Amazon, whatever, It also, I think, would be interesting for, taxi cabs and things like that they used to have these big signs on the roof. Well, this would be a great way to do it, and with a wrap. Or imagine if you could do custom paint on your car and display it and change it all the time. I just think it's a interesting idea for trucks. There was a regulation that was coming up, and I thought it was a good regulation, and this would help here, because I have not seen this happen yet, but supposedly there was a regulation that a truck, a big tractor trailer, has to have a screen on the rear door that shows what's in front of the vehicle, because you can't see it.
Yes, I've read that.
So imagine if you had this on the back door, and the whole back door of the truck is the screen, and then they turn on the camera, and you can see, it's like seeing through the truck, right?
That's right. Yeah. No, I can see this happening. Right now, it's extremely expensive.
Oh, yeah, and extremely limited. But think about it in your home. You have a TV that's basically wallpaper.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting idea. I think it's something we will see. And the idea that you can turn your roof white in summer and black in winter to gather more heat, and white to reflect it in winter, well, it might be a good one. So, and customization, I think it's opening a Pandora's box there. It's interesting. So, while we're talking about Audi, they brought out this good-looking machine this week, the Audi Q4 E-Tron, and it is the fourth and fifth model in the E-Tron portfolio. Their electric vehicles, the number of models is just expanding rapidly, and I think this is a good-looking E-Tron vehicle. This is
nice and slick looking.
Yeah, the Q4 440 E-Tron and the Q450 E-Tron. They come standard with 19-inch wheels, all-season tires. There's a Sportback variant of the Q450 E-Tron. That comes with larger wheels. The powering it is an asynchronous electric motor producing 201 horsepower, 229 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds. And then if you want more, the Q450 E-Tron and Sportback come equipped with a dual synchronous electric motors, which raise the horsepower to 295, and that 0 to 60 is 5.8 seconds. Charging time at 125 kilowatt DC charger, 5 to 80% in 38 minutes. Not bad. I think this is pretty cool. I don't know. I don't think we have any pricing on these things yet.
I don't think so.
But I don't even think we have range on this. We have mile per. We don't have total range on this. On the Q450 E-Tron, 241. On the Sportback, 241.50. But on the Q440 E-Tron, which will be less than that, we don't know. But 241, it's not huge. The pricing is pretty huge, though. Q450 E-Tron, $49,900. Of course, you can get up to $7,500 off, potentially more in the future. Potentially, they're talking about $12,000.
Yeah, that could very well happen.
And then if you want the Sportback, which I think is the best looking one of the group, because unlike many Americans, I like hatchbacks. I think they're useful.
Yeah, kind of reasonable price for an Audi.
$52,700 for the Sportback. Not huge range though. 241. That's sort of like a Chevy Bolt, but it's a good-looking car, isn't it?
It is that, and it's an Audi.
Yeah, and it's an Audi. And you know it's screwed together correctly. So, over at GM this week, they showed off their new motors that are going to make up the future of the vehicle. New electric drivetrain, all developed in-house with GM propulsion software. the 180 kilowatt front motor and the 255 kilowatt rear M motor and a 62 kilowatt all-wheel drive assist motor, Ultium drive. All three motors were calibrated in-house to ensure a highest level of performance. Think about this. This is the motor that will go in everything from the GMC Hummer EV to potentially the E-Ray Corvette when it gets announced. So this will be in a lot of vehicles. Think of the cost savings when you just have this to power your vehicles. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking
Very
more
cool.
about that for sure, but we're going to talk about the C8 Corvette when we come back. So stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson with you here on Cruise Control. We appreciate you being along. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all that and more. A lot going on, and we appreciate you're along for the ride. You know, we like to review vehicles, and we review a number of them. Each of us drive something different each week. And recently, I got a chance to drive the C8 Corvette Convertible. This was the 2021 model. Corvette.
Modest economy car.
Modest economy car. No one really looked at it, of course. This was the 2021 Corvette Stingray Convertible 3LT. Now, 2021... there are actually a number of new things for the Corvette in 2021. And what's interesting is people that ordered a 2020 and got bumped ended up with a 2021. And it's not bad because there's a few things on there that they wouldn't have got. By the way, this is the 2020. I don't think they have any drone footage of the 2021 or 2022 model yet. But new for 2021, magnetic selective ride control available without the Z51. Standard wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, a good thing to have, I think.
Love, you got to have it.
Yeah, wireless is much better because the wire wears out, and then you don't get the benefits of that. Silver flake metallic exterior color, sky cool gray, and yellow strike interior color. New full-length dual racing stripe package. Stinger stripes in 3 colors. Ours had Stinger stripes, which is kind of a cool, nice little look there. There's the Stinger stripe on the front of it. Kind of like that, actually. It was like having stripes, but without going all gaudy on it. Driver mode, on-screen visualization, and new track digital tachometer, and standard buckle-to-drive safety technology. You must buckle up to prevent the vehicle from shifting out of park. You and I have been encountering that a lot lately. Now, ours was the 3LT model. They come in 1LT, 2LT, and 3LT. Basically, the 1LT is a more basic, pure model, as they call it. It doesn't have things like head-up display and other things. 2LT, I think, is the area where we see most of the sales come in because that has most of the goodies, but it has a nice interior but does not have all the Alcantara and the leather-wrapped dashboard and things like that. That's where the 3LT comes in. That's what a 3LT is. It is an upgraded interior package. Alcantara wheel, Alcantara seats, suede headliner, wrapped leather dash. That's what the 3LT is. Ours has a 3LT. It's not only a 3LT, it's also the Stingray Convertible. Stingray Convertible costs $7,500 more than the standard Corvette Coupe. And I've always been a coupe guy because in a Corvette you can take the roof off and you have the open air, and yet you get the benefits of the coupe. And the old one, that meant more storage. And this one, the storage is the same in the coupe and the convertible. Thing is, though, with the convertible, you can't do something that I found most people want to do when they see you in a Corvette. They say, hey, can I look at the engine? Well, you can't, because the engine, unlike the coupe, is under this plastic heat shield with like 17 fasteners on it. You can only access it when the roof is down and the roof flap is up like that. And in order to check the oil, coolant levels, things like that, you have these rubber plugs that you have to reach in. So you will never actually see the engine unless you take this plastic piece off, which it's not really designed to come off easily. So that's a bit sad. It does look good with the top down or up. There's the 2 flying buttresses in the back. There's a small window in the center that raises up and down, so you can put it up in case you want to use it as a wind deflector. which is really nice. It's one of the best looking convertibles, top, up, or down. When the top is up, it's hard to tell whether it's a coupe or convertible unless you go around the back and you notice the engine isn't under glass. And if the engine isn't under glass, that means it's a convertible. But you do pay for it, $7,500 more, and you do lose the ability to show off your engine. Up front, there was the frunk on the short hood, and yes, I tried it. It does fit a wheelie bag. It fit my wife's wheelie bag. She was going on a trip. It also fit all the gear I use for shooting the videos. Out back, there is the trunk, which fits 2 golf bags. That's the design it's supposed to. The interior was beautiful. We got upgraded dual color seats, which I think is like a $395 upgrade, which I think is worth it. I think it looks kind of cool, the red and black. It has a phone charger right by the waterfall there, right between the seats, which is handy so your phone doesn't fly around when you're in the twisties. So good engineering on the part of GM. It had the controversial interior with all the HVAC switches down the center console, which was sort of raised up on the inside. I didn't mind it. My wife said she felt it made it more claustrophobic because the console comes way up high, almost equal with the top of the dash. And she said she felt it divided the car into 2 cockpits too much. Ours had the incredible Z51 Performance Package, which is a $6,000 package. Rear axle performance ratio, high performance tires, Z51 rear spoiler, Electron limited slip diff, Z51 performance suspension, brakes, performance exhaust, heavy duty cooling system. Frankly, for $6,000, that's the one to get. I think that is a great thing to have on your vehicle, don't you?
So it goes quick like a bunny.
Oh my! I can't say enough about this new 8-speed transmission, dual clutch transmission. It shifted. It was like boom, 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 really fast. No manual is available, of course. And then the other thing I liked about this was the Z mode button, where it is a button on the steering wheel that you press and the thing comes alive. It opens the exhaust up. It changes the steering feel. It changes the suspension. It's a 1-button push. Far from Z, which would mean sleep, it's like wake it up mode, and it rips. I mean, 495 horsepower less. Frankly, I don't need more than that in this car.
No,
it's well matched to it.
Plenty. Yeah.
You getting on highways, you're coming off the turn, you just open that throttle about a quarter of a crack and you're up to 95 miles an hour. You have to lift right out of it, not without pressing it hard or anything. I love the front lift adjustable height memory system. I have a couple of speed bumps when I come in here. I programmed it, and they were only about 100 feet apart. It would lift it up, lower it down, lift it up, lower it down based on GPS. Really good. So let's talk a little bit about price. Ours ticked in at $93,620 with all the options in there. And that included a lot. The Z51 package, the front lift option, 2-tone seats, adrenaline red custom leather stitching, the microfiber wrap steering wheel, all that, $93,620 for a very obtainable supercar. Not cheap, but I tell you, it is an amazing vehicle, well engineered, and I have to say I'm a fan of the C8 after driving it.
I told you so.
All right. Well, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
See you down the road.
Bye.